Card layout. The card layout class is unique among the other layout managers in that it stores several different layouts. Each layout can be thought of as being on a separate index card in a deck that can be shuffled so that any card is on top at a given time. This can be useful for user interfaces with optional components that can be dynamically enabled and disabled upon user input. You can prepare the other layouts and have them hidden, ready to be activated when needed. Card layout provides these two constructors: card layout int HORZ, int VERT. The first form creates a default card layout. The second form allows you to specify the horizontal and vertical space left between the components in HORZ and VERT respectively. Use of a card layout requires a bit more work than the other layouts. The cards are typically held in an object of type panel. This panel must have card layout selected as its layout manager. The cards that form the deck are also typically objects of type panel. Thus, you must create a panel that contains the deck and a panel for each card in the deck. Next, you add to the appropriate panel the components that form each card. You then add these panels to the panel for which card layout is the layout manager. Finally, you add this panel to the window. Once these steps are complete, you must provide some way for the user to select between cards. One common approach is to include one push button for each card in the deck. When card panels are added to a panel, they are usually given a name. Thus, most of the time, you will use this form of add method when adding cards to a panel. Void add component panel obj object name. Here, name is the string that specifies the name of the card whose panel is specified by panel obj. After you have created a deck, your program activates a card by calling one of the following methods defined by card layout. Void first container deck, void last container deck, void next container deck, void previous container deck, void show container deck, string card name. Here deck is the reference to the container, usually a panel that holds the card, and card name is the name of a card. Calling first causes the first card in the deck to be shown. To show the last card, call last. To show the next card, call next. Method to show the previous card, call previous. Both next and previous automatically cycle back to the top and bottom of the deck respectively. The show method displays the card whose name is passed in card name. The following example creates a two-level card deck that allows the user to select an operating system. Windows-based operating systems are displayed in one card. Macintosh and Solaris are displayed in the other cards. Grid bag layout. Although the preceding layouts are perfectly acceptable for many uses, some situations will require that you take a bit more control over how the components are arranged. A good way to do this is to use a grid bag layout, which is specified by the grid bag layout class. What makes the grid bag useful is that you can specify the relative placement of the components by specifying their positions within cells inside a grid. The key to the grid bag is that each component can be different size and each row in the grid can have a different number of columns. This is why the layout is called a grid bag. It's collection of small grids joined together. The location and size of each component in a grid bag are determined by a set of constraints linked into it. The constraints are contained in an object of type grid bag constraints. Constraints include the height and width of a cell, the placement of a component, its alignment, and its anchor point within a cell. The general procedure for using a grid bag is to first create a new grid bag layout object and to make it the current layout manager. Then set the constraints that apply to each component that will be added to the grid bag. Finally, add components to the layout manager. Although grid bag layout is a bit more complicated than the other layout managers, it is still quite easy to use once you understand how it works. Grid bag layout defines only one constructor, which is shown here, grid bag layout. Grid bag layout defines several methods, of which many are protected and not for general use. This is one method, however, that you must use. Set constraints. It is shown here. Void set constraints component comp grid bag constraint cons. Here comp is the component for which the constraint specified by cons apply. This method sets the constraint that apply to each component in the grid bag. The key to successfully using grid bag layout is the proper setting of the constraints, which are stored in a grid bag constraints object. Grid bag constraints define several fields that you can set to govern the size, placement, and spacing of a component. These are shown in table. Several are described in greater detail in the following discussion. Field and their purpose. Int anchors. It specifies the location of a component within a cell. The default is grid bag constraint dot center. Int fill specify how a component is resized. If the component is smaller than its cell, valid values are grid bag constraints dot none, grid bag constraints dot horizontal, grid bag constraint dot vertical, grid bag constraint dot both. Int grid height. It specifies the height of a component in terms of cells. The default is 1. Int grid width. It specifies the width of a component in terms of cell. The default is 1. Int grid x. It specifies the x coordinate of the cell which is the component will be added. The default value is grid bag constraint dot relative. Int grid y. It specifies the y coordinate of the cell to which the component will be added. The default value is grid bag constraint dot relative. Insets. It specifies the insets. Default insets are all 0. Int I pad x specifies extra horizontal space that surrounds a component within a cell. The default value is 0. Int I pad specifies extra vertical space that surrounds a component within a cell. The default value is 0. Double weight x specifies a weight value that determines the horizontal spacing between the cells and the edges of the container that holds them. The default value is 0.0. The greater the weight, the more space that is allocated. If all values are 0.0, extra space is distributed evenly between the edge of the window. Double weighty specifies a weight value that determines the vertical spacing between cells and the edges of the container that holds them. The default value is 0.0. The greater the weight, the more space that is allocated. If all values are 0.0, extra space is distributed evenly between the edges of the window. Grid bag constraints also defines several static fields that contain standard constraint values. such as gridback constraints dot center and gridback constraint dot vertical. When a component is smaller than its cell, you can use the anchor field to specify where within the cell the component top corner left will be located. There are three types of values that can give to anchor. The first are absolute: gridback container dot center, gridback container dot east, gridback containers dot north, and so on. As their names imply, these values cause the component to be placed at the specific locations. The second type of the values that can be given to anchor is relative, which means the values are relative to the container orientation, which might differ for non-Western language. The relative values are shown here. Gridback container dot first line end, gridback container dot first line start, gridback container dot last line end, gridback container dot last line start, and so on. Their name describe the placement. The third type of value that can be given to anchor were added by Java SE6. They allow you to position components vertically relative to the baseline of the row. They are shown here. Gridback container dot baseline, gridback container baseline trailer, gridback container dot above baseline leading, and so on. The horizontal position can be either centered against the leading edge or against the trailing edge. The weight X and weight Y fields are both quite important and quite confusing at first glance. In general, their values determine how much of extra space within a container is allocated to each row and column. By default, both of these values are 0. When all values within a row or a column are 0, extra space is distributed evenly between the edges of the window. By increasing the weight, you can increase the row and column allocation of space proportional to the other row and column. The best way to understand how this value works is to experiment with them a bit. The grid width variable lets you specify the width of a cell in terms of cell unit. The default is 1. To specify that a component use the remaining space in a row, use gridback constraints remainder. To specify that a component use the next to last cell in a row, use gridback container constraints dot relative. The grid height constraint works the same way but in the vertical direction. You can specify a padding value that will be used to increase the maximum size of a cell. To pad horizontally, assign a value to ipad X. To pad vertically, assign a value to ipad. Here is an example that uses gridback layout to demonstrate several of the points just discussed. The output produced by the program is shown here. In the layout, the operating system checkboxes are positioned in a 2x2 grid. Each cell has a horizontal padding of 200. Each component is inset slightly from the top left. The column weight is set to 1, which causes any extra horizontal space to be distributed evenly between the columns. The first row uses a default weight of 0. The second has a weight of 1. This means that any extra vertical space is added to the second row. Gridback layout is a powerful layout manager. It's worth taking some time to experiment with and explore. Once you understand what the various settings do, you can use gridback layout to position components with a high degree of precision. Thanks for watching this video. If you found this video helpful and want more videos like this, then please let me know by click on like button and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.